going live. We're going live. Am I live? Am I live?
This thing working?
Yep. Okay, we're live. We are live a little bit early because I got a lot to tell you about my week before we get into various things. First up, the Pineys still on track. I thought I would have it out by now, but we're still on track. I'm still editing anyway, so waiting on the cover. This week looks pretty doable. Let me tell you about the crazy week I had, though. All right, so first I did, excuse me, Mount Laurel Historical Society on Tuesday. Some very nice older folks who run the Historical Society had me by, and I got to talk to them. Great day. Then it was the Laurel Springs Night Market. Did that. Then Avalon Public Library had a nice little show there in the school down there. Then Friday, what did I do on Friday? God, I can't read my own writing on my calendar. Friday. I forget now. I have to look. I had so many. I forget. Second and Charles bookstore, right? So I went down to Second and Charles, and they had already bought all the books, so they were very nice. Very nice group of folks who run the store. They had a kitten, Joe, a little tiny kitten that was in the store. Somebody was watching it, so that was fun. Gave talks to the first three. Second and Charles, I didn't give the talk. Then Scary Stories, man, it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. That's, unfortunately, I think that hurt attendance at Scary Story Book Fest. Not the fault. Oh, everybody's here. Arden is here. Hello, be back shortly. Got to make a call. And Kite is here. Hey, time for a Hollywoke hot take. That's right, Kite. That's right, Little Joe. Time for a Hollywoke hot take. Where we do it live. And then, so Scary Story Fest, they hold it in the basement of a bar. Kite, LOL, I like how Hollywoke is autocorrected to Hollywood. Yes, because Hollywoke is not a term yet. I'm making it a term, though. And not just because I have a book by that title. So, Scary Story Fest, yeah, it was rough. I mean, I had a nice time. The guy who runs it, Steve, is great. He couldn't control the weather. The thing is about Asbury Park, it's kind of a shore town. It's not totally dependent upon the weather, but it is the kind of town you walk around and go to stores. And if it's raining all day, nobody comes out. Nobody comes out. Like last year it rained, but it rained and then it stopped for a while, and so people could come out and go to the bar. This time, man, it just rained from the moment I got there to the moment I left. And, last year I stayed late and made some sales. I was tempted to do it again, but I left at about 7:30. I had to. I was meeting a friend anyway, so I wanted to stop by his place. He lives all the way in Jackson, so it's a bit of a ride. So that was my weekend. Sold some books. Next week, not as many, but still pretty good. I'm doing the Delran Historical Society, and then there's a big sort of ghost tour thing going on Thursday in Hamilton, so I'll be back at Cassiano's. Then I'm doing, on the weekend, holy cow, on the weekend, what the heck am I doing? I'm doing the Dark Market in Greenwich, New Jersey, 9 p.m. to midnight. And then the next day, I'm doing the second annual Halloween Festival in Kearney Cottage, Perth Amboy, which I've never done before, but the guys were very excited to have me. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Ardent is back. Yeah, autocorrect is sucking retarded. Ha! Or retreaded. YouTube, they just can't stop messing with things. They can't just leave well enough alone. They built an amazing platform. It really is amazing when you think about YouTube and how well it did for many, many years. Perfectly on its own. Now, it did make money, and that's an issue. That is absolutely an issue. But I think other than the monetization innovations, they should have kept it basically the same. Instead, they're constantly trying to game the algorithm for reasons I don't quite understand. Because, look, if you're an advertiser, all you got to do is give the advertisers the power to advertise where they want, right? So you could have a thing, I'm sure YouTube would do this, a thing, JC is here, hi, hi, hi. You know, where advertisers come in and they check off the boxes of the kinds of videos they want to advertise on, right? And you sort them by that. Like, I put all my videos in the adult section just to be safe. So I can curse if I want. I don't really curse a lot on these streams or in my videos. Sometimes I talk about more adult topics, but generally I try to keep it clean. But I put myself in the adult, so there's absolutely no question I thought YouTube would leave me alone. I probably should take myself out of there, but so, like, if you're an advertiser and you want it family friendly, and you're family friendly, yeah, I can understand why they're like, okay, you're not family friendly, we're gonna have to flag you. Ardent, hello, JEC. But if you're not family friendly, if you openly state, I'm not family friendly, you know, I'm going to say some things, I'm going to talk about things, then, you know, you take your chances as an advertiser. And it's not like super adult things go on YouTube. They don't put X-rated stuff on YouTube. Well, they're not supposed to. A few things creep in. Ardent, LOL, I go adult always just in case and mostly go Rumble for those loose language. For the loose language, yes. Yeah, on Rumble. Like, I just did a whole thing on the recent conflict on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. In fact, let me make sure it loaded. Did it load? Yeah, it did load. So check that out. My video on infiltration, I'll say, in education and things that are happening. So, you know, I'd put it on YouTube. What would be the big deal? Oh, yeah, because YouTube's got to get so political, Jim. So political, little dog. Anyhow, today's theme, by the way, I came up with a theme at the last minute, and I changed the thumbnail. It's going to be the best New Jersey movies of all time. But before we get to that, let's go over some of the basics. Let's start with big news. Suzanne Summers, fitness icon and star of Three's Company, dies at 76 following cancer battle. She played Chrissy on Three's Company. Ardent, be right back. They called back. Okay. So, yeah. This is a shame because she was a bit of fitness icon. Not as big as, say, Richard Simmons. She was an actress first and then later got into this, I don't know, she had this wacky, like, Thigh Master thing that she promoted. But she seemed like a nice enough person. Just one day before her 77th birthday from cancer. That's rough. I just found, and I don't know how real this is, but I got to do some more research. Certainly if I ever get the big C, I will do more on it. There's some doctor who invented some kind of, or discovered some sort of peptide that treats the big C. And they posted it on Twitter. I retweeted it. So I hope it's in my feed forever so I could go back and refer to it. I mean, is it legit? I don't know. Maybe. There were people testifying that they took this stuff and they were cured. I mean, you have to be careful with that on the internet, but I can also see how the pharmaceutical companies wouldn't want a simple peptide to, let's say, break the bank. So, R.I.P. Chrissy from Three's Company. If you never watched Three's Company, it was the stupidest show ever. It was dumb. It was actually I think it was a BBC show. And the premise of the show was Jack, the guy, pretends to be gay so he could be the roommates with two beautiful women. And then the landlord's constantly trying to figure out if he's really gay. Because Jack's not gay, but he's not dating either one of the women. Chrissy was the super hot and dumb one. And then the actress's name was Janet, I think. She was the normal one, but still hot-ish, and Jack, and there was always sort of misunderstandings where they had to keep proving Jack was gay. Kite, of course it's not legit. The pharmaceutical companies don't say so. LOL. Yeah, exactly. My trust in pharmaceutical companies has been shattered over the last few years. I didn't exactly trust them to begin with. I've never gotten a flu shot. And for years, people would say, you ought to get your flu shot. And I'd be like, do I really need it, though? And I never got so sick that I thought, oh, my God, I think I'm dying. I wish I had gotten a flu shot. I think once I got like a super high fever. And I slept for 14 hours, and it was basically over. It broke, and that was good. I never felt... The only time I felt like I thought I might die was when I woke up in the ambulance after my car accident, and I thought, oh, crap. I hope I'm not full of a lot of drugs and I'm dying right now. It turned out I wasn't. Turned out I had a broken hand. I got metal in my hand from that accident. And I was banged up, but that was about it. So they had to go in and operate on my hand. I wish they had not given me anesthetic, though. They put me under, and then I got pneumonia, and then I got really sick. Like, I didn't feel half as bad from the operation as I did afterwards when I got sick from the anesthesia. So, anyhow, let's go over the numbers before we jump into the Jersey movies, because there is some big news. Taylor Swift has successfully conquered movies. I know. Calm down. This is going to be the next big thing, I think. Because as I've been saying, shooting a concert movie is cheap to shoot a movie. They're already shooting footage. Probably every concert. They probably shoot every single concert Taylor Swift does. Because why wouldn't they? Every arena is set up to shoot these things. In other countries, like if Taylor goes to Brazil and does a concert, it'll be on local TV. That's what happened to like bands like Nirvana and other big bands that went. They go overseas and they just play that on television, the concert. I'm not sure why, but I guess the record company has no control over that, or that's the deal down there. And that's if you ever go to a show like a punk show and they have bootlegs of various concerts, a lot of times the bootlegs are really just people in one of these foreign countries recording the band because it was on regular TV, and then they put it on a DVD or whatever and then sell it. They're not supposed to, of course. Somebody gets a copy of it. I mean, these days you'd probably torrent the damn thing. Kite. Ha ha ha. Who the F paid that much to see something they could watch on YouTube? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, this is a genius move. This could help the studios for a while. And the record companies, really. I mean, this is a win-win. If this movie cost more than $5 million to shoot, I'd be shocked. Maybe maybe in the realm of 5 to 10 million, maybe. Like if they went top-notch director and everything. But there's no cast. There's no script. There's a crew. There's a director, maybe. That's about it. The only thing you're really doing is shooting the concert, which probably over a 3-day tour, over a weekend, maybe over a week. You know, you shoot behind the scenes stuff, maybe over a tour. Like you could shoot for months if you wanted to get the best possible performances, and then to do a thing like, oh, here's the Pittsburgh show, and here's one of the songs, and then here's LA, and here's one of the songs, and here's the cross-country tour, and boom, boom, boom. They go through every major city or something. That's a strategy, too. But even if you do that, JEC, if it was more than $5 million, they were giving out kickbacks to everyone involved. Yeah, I mean, they would have to pay something for it. Like, they would have to pay Taylor Swift and her various people something for being in it, but not a lot. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy. They're just doing their job. So imagine you're just doing your job, even if you're an entertainer. Like, I go do Piney stuff and talk about the Jersey Devil, and sometimes I get paid for it. Imagine somebody decides, well, we're going to do a documentary on you, and then we're going to pay you even more money while you're getting paid. I'd be like, yes, please. Kite, that number is way too high to be believable, though. Barely anyone has been going to the movies. We've seen this weekly low numbers over and over again. This Taylor Swift, the avidly anti-Trump. For this weekend, Woke Princess destroys everything that came before. Seems suspicious. Well, for this weekend, I think it's legit. And here's why. All her fans who couldn't either see her on tour, or they saw the tour and they love it so much they'll just go see her again for some behind the scenes stuff. They'll go see it, especially the first weekend, because they're all girls and they get caught up in things, and it's a girly movie, and I'm sure it's very girly, right? So this first weekend, I mean, you got to burn through all the Taylor Swift fans who are just Swifties till they die. Now, after that, you could see a steep drop-off. You could see a reasonably steep drop-off next week, you know, because I don't think they'd see this. Only the really hardcore fans would keep seeing it, you know. And does she have that many fans? Sure, she does. She's one of the biggest singers in the world. But we'll see next week. But either way, this is money. This is money in the bank. So for the studios to shoot something this cheap, with the equipment's already in place, the crew mostly is in place. Maybe you hire a director, maybe you do some behind the scenes, maybe you follow her for 6 months, or maybe you don't. You could literally do this in a weekend. I mean, if you look at like Chris Rock or any of the comedians and they do their movies, like Chris Rock, he did one of his specials was 3 different shows. It was the same show, but he performed in 3 different. They kept cutting between each of the 3 shows because I guess they were taking the best reactions from the audience. And he was in 3 different outfits, and you know, it kept it a little livelier, a little different. When they shot Eddie Murphy Raw, which was a big movie back in the 80s, I think that was 1 show. I think that was only 1. I'm almost sure. Because I think he's in the same outfit the whole movie. I don't think the theater or anything changes. Maybe it was like, again, a 3-day weekend where he did a show every night and they cut it together, but you finish a movie in a weekend? I mean, that is money. That is money. That saves you so much damn money. So every dollar, I mean, this is just money in the bank. So Beyonce's already announced she's going to do one. I'll bet money Pink will do one. Drake will probably do one. Every big singer in the world is probably being courted by all the major studios now because they're seeing dollar signs. Beyonce will be big as well. I don't know if she'll be as big as this, but decent. I mean, if Beyonce does a movie and it's $50 million, I mean, it's still money. Kite, I mean, that makes sense, but we're talking fans, V's, a whole country of moviegoers, and looking at the list, she smashed the total gross of all films except Oppenheimer and Bob in one weekend. Yeah, but like, if you look back at the grosses of, say, the Marvel movies, when they were good, they were pretty high, right? So, no one's seeing movies. That's the problem. So they're desperate to get anybody back in the movies. These people won't be back for any other movie. They're just there for Taylor Swift. A lot of these people are completely checked out. JEC, I'll wait for the Kanye concert movie. Oh, there was news about him this week. Kanye is trying to shop a new album around, but the record companies, they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and there's some other rapper who's working with him. His name was TD Solid $? I don't know what that means. But I can't imagine any major label will touch Kanye, especially now. Like, he was toast before. Oh, but after recent events, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. I don't know who. He should just release it himself anyway. Just release it on the internet. He probably can't use Spotify. He'd probably have to go to some other platform that will host him. He might have to build his own damn platform, but he has the money to do that. JC, Kanye filed the trademark for something called Use. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's going to establish his own platform on the internet called Use and stream his own music. But which would be smart, but he runs the risk of the hackers deciding, oh, we're going to take that site down, and they all go after him. He might not have much of a choice but to do that. But if he hires the right nerds, Kite, give me a give me an Ice 9 Kills Horrorwood movie and a lottery win, and I'll outgrow Swift solo Keck. Maybe. I wouldn't put it past you. Lottery win, it's a good time to win the lottery. It's up to, it keeps going up $1 billion. You know who keeps winning a lottery? People in California. And there was a rumor on the internet going around that they're rigging the lottery so people in California win because they want the money. They want taxpayers in California to have lots of money. And I just thought, that's a bit much. And I can't imagine that makes a tremendous amount of difference. But when you think about it, maybe it kind of does, because you got to figure somebody who wins $1.4 billion, like almost half of that's going to be in taxes, right? So you're talking about $600 million in taxes. That's not chump change for the local government. So, Kite, Use is probably a new set. I can't read. This heart is in the way. New set of the hobo shoes he made. LOL. Oh, right. Yeah, they can't sell those damn hobo shoes. Why do I have this heart in the way? This icon's in my way. JC, the way the useful idiots are turning on the current narrative, they'll probably embrace Kanye again. That's a possibility, depending on what he raps about. Man, it is mask off time, isn't it? For the narrative. Holy F. It's like, obviously, huge tragedy. What happened is terrible. But if there's any silver lining in it, it's that people have woken up to what the hard left is really about. And they're really about violence. And that was partly, partly about what my video was about. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm so phlegmy. So, yeah. Yeah. Number 2, Exorcist Believer dropped by 58%. That's a pretty big drop. Made 11 million. And this, I think, ain't going much further. 84 million for worldwide. I don't think that's money, because the word is NBC Universal paid for $400 million and they want a trilogy of Exorcist movies. And this is the first one. So you got to figure this movie, if you split it evenly, cost them at least $125 million. Right? So $125 million. They're at 80 million. They might barely squeak over that. Advertising puts them in the hole. Unless they're counting the advertising, which means they really have $200 million for 3 movies, which means they're about 70 million each, in which case it's made back its money on the budget, but probably still hasn't made its advertising back. JEC, left is eating itself over the current events. Love it. Yeah, me too. That's a one silver lining, to watch these idiots go at each other. It'll be great to see who's left when the smoke clears. But I'll tell you what we have to do, and I said it in my video, we have to clean out, and I agree with James Lindsay, the educational system. These teachers have to go. They have to be removed from their positions of power over people. No more communists at the colleges. Kite, wasn't it also pushing wokeness? This one I heard, yes. The line that kept getting repeated over and over again was Ellen Burstyn, who was in the original movie. It was her daughter who was possessed. She says something like, I didn't actually witness the exorcism because of the damn patriarchy, or something like that. And it's a real groaner. It also is part of the plot of the movie that it's not just the priests that are involved, but they use like every culture's exorcism in order to excise the demons in this one. I think they drove the train right off the tracks with that storyline. If I was a screenwriter on that, I would say, no, this doesn't make sense. You shouldn't do this. You can't combine all these things. It's just not going to work. And that line, I would say no. What? You know, if you saw the original Exorcist, by the way, fantastic movie. These two priests literally risked their lives to save her daughter. And part of the reason they wouldn't let her in the room would have been for her own safety. Kite, the power of the patriarchy compels you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it definitely didn't sound like a line that Ellen Burstyn just improv. It definitely sounded like it was coming from the people who wrote it and the idiots who run Hollywood currently. Hopefully this stuff is slowly going to go out of Hollywood now, because the word is the writer's strike, at least in television, restructured the writer's room in such a way that the older writers get all the power, and the word is most of them are pretty sick of this stuff because they're part of the old guard before all this wokeness came in. They're sick of all these idiot kids who have no talent ruining everything, and they will have the power to kick a lot of these people out. On top of the fact, failure after failure after failure after failure. So one example, of course, is the Daredevil TV show Born Again. They've already fired everyone, literally everyone. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, if they could rehire all the guys from the Netflix series, the original Netflix series, which everybody loves, the first two seasons anyway. Third season I hear is a little shaky, but I think if you got those original guys, oh, they can come right back from it. Whatever problems were in the first series, quickly be dispelled. And hopefully, if that happens, they will bring back Foggy and the original woman who plays, I forget the character's name, Karen Page. I think it's Daredevil's girlfriend. And keep it legit. Instead of, they were going to race swap one of the characters you've just seen. So imagine like Disney, like, I assume, I don't know, they probably have the rights to, do they have the rights to the Netflix one? I don't know. But let's say they do, and they're doing, we're doing a Daredevil marathon, and you're watching the marathon, you watch the first 3 seasons, and Karen Page, I think her name is this blonde white girl, and then you get into season 4, and it's a completely different person. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there's race swapping, and then there's just being woke-tarded. That's the most woke-tarded thing ever. That's just basically spitting in the face of your audience. Clint Miller's here. God, I can't clear my throat. I don't know why. Hold on a sec. There we go. Yep, Jones back. Thank you. So, yeah. All right, getting back to it. Paw Patrol, the mighty movie. This is the Paw Patrol characters as superheroes at 7 million. This is week 3. Doing 126 mil. It's a cartoon. I don't think that's money, but maybe. Saw X. 5.7 million. 64 million? I don't know. Horror movies are typically cheap. This movie kind of looked cheap, so It might be money. I mean, you figure I didn't recognize anybody in the movie except the main characters, the main two killers, but they could have shot this thing for 20 mil, maybe. I mean, it is Saw, so they would have had to give the two recognizable actors a little bit of money, but nobody else in this movie was recognizable to me. I don't know. I hate this series. I really just hate franchises like that. They're just gross and terrible. But I'll say this: Saw X had the most plot out of all of them. It sounded like. The creator drops from 4 to 5, 4.3 million. They were expecting big things with this movie. It just didn't happen. 79 million. If you had released this back in the 90s, maybe. And I'm hearing that it's not very good overall though. And it looks expensive as F. So, Clint Miller, my grandson likes Paw Patrol. Oh, you got a grandson? Nice, good for you. I assume he's like 6. That sounds like a 6-year-old. I love Paw Patrol, Grandpa. I'll tell you what my nephew loved when he was a little kid was Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh my God, he loved it. He was one of the legions of Sonic fans, and they were legion. JC, bad title. Creator? The creator? Yeah, pretty bad. Not great. Not for that kind of movie. The creator, to me, would be about an inventor or something. I don't know. It should have been like the AI war or something like that. Ardent, okay. Fiance has been telephonically satisfied. Nice. You're all stuck with me now. Ha ha ha. Ardent. I added the chuckling. A Haunting in Venice is number 6. Stays at 6. 2 million. Again, a movie like this in the 90s, I think it would have done much better. 100 mil, just shy of it. Because Kenneth Branagh is a good director. All right, Joe. I hear you griping back there. There, you're in the catbird seat now. Relax. So, yeah, I'm sure it's good. I mean, I didn't go see it, but I kind of want to see it. But I kind of don't want to pay $14 for it. You know? Like, I'll catch it on something later on, maybe. Ardent, the chortling should be assumed. That's right. Number 7, The Blind, from Fathom Events. These Fathom movies are doing pretty good. 2 million. This is in its 3rd week. I mean, it's done $13 million. I can't imagine they... See, like, this is on a different scale, these kinds of movies. These are cheap, I think. I don't mean to knock it, but I mean they're definitely low budget. So 13 million through Fathom Events, I think that could be money. Maybe this thing cost a couple of million, maybe say 3 or 4 million, and then not much on advertising. I wouldn't use the Hollywood formula for a movie like this. Maybe they spent a couple of $100,000 or maybe $1 million, but I wouldn't think much more. So these are the kinds of movies that make money. If you could structure it that way, you do a movie for $1 million, $2, $3, or under $1 million, ideally, and you get some amount of distribution. Like Fathom is some amount. It's not all of it, but they keep. If good movies keep popping up in Fathom, this is going to become the new model. So. Something's going to break in that, because I think it's just theaters are terrible. It's a terrible experience. So Fathom is kind of like it's using theaters, but at the same time it's an alternate way of distribution, right? So if they can figure out a way to use that system and then maybe move away from the typical theater to some kind of other venue, it could be big. Some kind of venue where it's cheaper or you get better service. Again, like, wouldn't it be great to go into a restaurant type setting, be able to see a movie, hear it, and, enjoy a nice meal? I think that could be possible, depending on how... I'm not sure how you could structure it. Like, they have these Bruin views. I don't think they quite work. because you've got to watch the screen and your food is here. I think what they need is some sort of system. And then, of course, you got the sound. You're hearing all the clinking and stuff. I think they need some sort of system where you come in. Maybe you put in earbuds or headphones, like wireless ones. And then you're eating your food. And then maybe it is on the screen. But then while you're eating, you could also see it on a little screen at the table. So you can look around. So while you're eating, you could watch it. And then when you're done eating or in between like bites or courses or whatever, you can look up and then you could see it up there. And then the headphones would keep out all the extraneous noise. So the waitresses could come in and, you know, they would be trained slightly differently. They could, you know, you could point to things, or maybe they'd have like a visual chart and their little iPad or something. Would you like another drink? And it would flash the question. You could say yes or not or whatever. Something like that. I think that system could work. And then you could have that pipe, you could have the Fathom events piped in, and then maybe you could even have a system in which people could see their own movies, kind of like an airplane. Maybe there'd be some screens, so half the group could see one thing, and or you could see a completely different movie on your screen, or your kids could watch something different. I don't know. Clint Miller. The Blair Witch Project was a one-off. There was a glut of shaky handheld camera work, and all that was churned out. All that was churned out was crap. I agree. One of those movies, which I didn't think was very good, was The Last Broadcast, because it was supposed to be about the Jersey Devil. It was almost the exact same movie. But, I mean, The Blair Witch was okay. I kind of liked it. Some of it, at least. I mean, I like the concept more than I like the actual movie, but yeah, there was a bunch of that. I mean, it became the thing. That's why I say concert movies are becoming the thing. Moving on to The Nun 2. Drops from 7 to 8. 1.6 mil. And, you know, this was solid. 257 million worldwide. International box office is zooming. Let's see. Ardent. Alcove amphitheater shaped booths with 16 18-inch monitors and the big screen up front. Yeah, something like that. JC. Paranoid Activity was a big hit, so were the sequels. That's true too. That was kind of shaky cam. They had all the cameras were locked down in that. It was sort of like the same thing but inside. I liked Paranoid Activity, or Paranormal Activity, I think it's called. I like that slightly better than the Blair Witch. And the one that you see in the theaters was a slightly ramped up version. They bought the movie and then they did a little sweetener with the effects at the end and in a couple of scenes, I heard. Number 9 is The Equalizer, still at 9, just shy of $1 million. I don't think this movie made money. 176 million? I mean, it maybe. I mean, I don't know. This movie can't be cheap. Dumb Money drops to 10 from 8. Again, just shy of $1 million. $14 million. I mean, it's a comedy. They're usually cheap. I don't know. Probably not. But maybe. I mean, it's not like there were a lot of effects in that. But probably not. Hocus Pocus re-release. $896,000. That ain't bad for a movie they didn't have to pay for again. Its total intake, though, was only $48 million. And that's not from current. That's like total, including back in 93. So, but, you know, that lines the pockets. I'm sure that was worth just... A lot of classic movies, it's just worth it to re-release them. People like them, like to go see things on the movie. Clint Miller, not cheap with Denzel as the Equalizer. Yeah. You know, it's not so much the expense of the actors. You know, a guy like Denzel, I think you could get him for $5-10 mil, something like that. You give him a piece of the movie too, or whatever. A movie like that, though, it's on location in Italy, and that's part of the appeal of doing it for the actor too. Oh, well, not only give you all this money, but you get to live in Italy for 6 months. They're shooting it in Italy. There's 1 million stunts. There's a lot. There's a lot in that movie. Phone blown up. Hold on. Doing a live stream every week. Every week. Everybody knows I do live stream. And every week people are like, where are you? Doing live stream. Anyhow. Yeah, not cheap. Barbie. Still making money. $370,000. Going out of theaters. Ridiculous amount of money this movie made. Expendables 4. Not money. I call that very not money. $47 million. This is definitely probably the cheapest Expendables, I think. I don't see any way that's money. But, Arden, is it your hairdresser? Is my hair a mess? It is not. It is my brother and my nephew. They want to play a game called Terraforming Mars, which we play online. We're in different parts of the country. But I'll have to get back to them later. Oppenheimer, still making money. Now it's about even with Barbie after reliably doing half of what Barbie did. Although it's in half as many theaters, so 942 million. Not bad. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I think, is a big fat flop at $295,000 this week. 37 million. I don't know. Clint Miller, The Disposables. Yeah. At this point. That's a good name, though. That'd be a good name for a movie. The Disposables. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, doesn't matter what this movie makes. They made $1 billion in toys, so who cares? 180 million. Probably paid for most of the production. Stop Making Sense. There's a concert movie. They may start re-releasing the concert movies, which would be kind of cool. 5 million. That's not a lot of money, but back then, oh, this movie didn't cost nothing. This movie, if this movie cost $1 million, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. Arden, me and Stormy have introduced Cards Against Humanity to game night. Her older kids are brutal. That's a fun game. I like that game. For a while, I mean, like my family, we're really into games around Christmas. So we'd buy games and then we'd figure them out and play them and then get into arguments. It's a lot of fun. My dream is that the Pineys become successful enough that I can do a board game with the Pineys that people would know, like a big name game, like a real board game with the whole thing. Arnett, Garth Brooks did a great concert movie. Sorry, the friggin' heart is in my way. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, that's another big name. He has enough fans. He could absolutely do another concert movie. Or re-release the one they have. I think that's going to be the next thing. Between Stop Making Sense, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, I mean, that's 3. And I think they're going to put a bunch of them in production now. There's just no stopping it. Gran Turismo is still in theaters. 141,000. It's going out. Who cares? This movie kind of died. 117,000. I thought it was a bad idea. The Royal Hotel. Okay, this movie I did a trailer analysis of. Oh my God! It's only made $644,000. Hugo Weaving is in this thing. JC. Clint Miller says, I'll play Milton. JC, re-release Kanye's old concert movies. But this Royal Hotel, this is a bizarre movie, it looks to me. It looks like a movie in which one woman is triggered and ruins everything for everyone. But that's just my impression from the trailer. I think something more serious happens in the movie, but they don't make it clear in the trailer. But it's kind of like 2 girls get in over their head. It's kind of mostly their fault. But I don't know. I can't tell from the trailer. Clint Miller. Maybe Lewis, if Hem uses him for more than seeing various objects. Seeing where various objects have been. That's true. Can you do Lewis's voice? I can't do Lewis's voice right now. I'm so phlegmy. What else? What else? Oh, here's something new. The Anatomy of a Fall, only 5 theaters, so they're just creeping this out. I think I saw the trailer for this. I forget what it... Oh, yeah. Okay, so the plot of this movie is a woman husband dies, and then I think it's a mystery of whether or not she killed him or pushed him. I think that's part of it. They were having a big to-do. So, I think it's a murder mystery. Dix, the musical, this movie looked horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It's like a bunch of theater guys got together and said, oh, let's do what the South Park guys do. And they're terrible. This is the worst thing, one of the worst things I've ever seen, in my opinion. Looks god-awful and not funny. Not the least bit funny to me. Haunted Mansion, just go away at this point. $82,000 Disney. I mean, that's pathetic. It's pathetic. Any of your movies are in the theaters for that low amount of money. $114 million. It's just not going to happen, Disney. 125 theaters. It's pointless. It's pointless. You might as well go right to Disney Plus. If you haven't done it already. Talk to Me is still in theaters. This movie, they already got a sequel lined up. Jeremy at the Quartering saw this movie. He liked it. $68 million. That's not a huge endorsement. He likes some movies I just think, it's not a great movie. But it's not the worst endorsement. The Mission from National Geographic. This is a National Geographic movie. I think it's more of a documentary. $29,000 for 8 theaters. So Once Within a Time. Oh, Once Within a Time. I don't know what this is. I hate that movie poster, though. God, that's awful. $12,000 for one theater. Is that a lot for one theater for one weekend? Say movie tickets are $12 a piece, and 1,000 people saw the movie in a weekend. I guess that wouldn't be bad. I guess that's not too bad. Common Ground. Don't know what that is. $6,200 from 6 theaters. It's been out for 3 weeks. Gosh. I think I knew what this movie was, and now I've already forgotten. And finally, Divinity from Utopia, $6,000 in 1 theater. No idea. All right, we're done. We're done with the box office at $135 million. And most of that was Taylor Swift. That's the pathetic part of this. This is why movies are dying. Taylor Swift single-handedly, saved movies this weekend. Saved movie theaters. I mean, you look at last weekend, $72 million. It's up a huge amount, basically because of Taylor Swift. And previous week, $85 million. This is just weekend numbers. $51 million. I mean, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs in movies. $62 million a week before. That's the weekend Haunting of Venice came out. This one, $88 million, slightly better. I mean, they can't even break $100 million without. Even when The Equalizer came out, didn't break $100 million. So, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. $90 million. When's the last time we broke $100 million? Jesus. $96 million when Blue Beetle came out. That's close. Barbie. Yep, Barbie. So, guess where Hollywood's going? They're going to women. Because only women are still going to see movies. They're going right to women. I'm telling you right now. And so, it's going to be pop stars to beat the band. It's going to be Barbie movies to beat the band. Fellas, it's going to be, because you know what it is too? I think for the audience, women tend to like to go out more, have an event time. Whereas guys, if they want to see a movie, we'll just see it however we can, right? Like if you're not seeing anybody, and you get a hold of a movie that you want to see, do you care what you see it on? I mean, if you're a movie file like me, maybe you want to see something on a big screen, but a lot of times you're just like, whatever. I'll watch it on my computer at home or whatever. Whereas I think women are more into the experience of going, so they could, with Barbie, definitely. I mean, that's what they should do too, is keep making it more of an experience movie. Experience movies will definitely draw in women, I think. But we'll see. Clint Miller, how big is the Hollywood movie industry? Box office can't be all of it. No, there's other stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of merchandising. Live stream a game of Mars? Not this week. Not this week. Next week I'll do that. Maybe we'll do that next week and you can see me curse at the screen and lose a game. My nephew is a genius at this game. He is freaking deadly in terraforming Mars. If I had to bet, I wouldn't bet on me. I'd be the long shot guy. Once in a while I have an amazing game and I win. My brother runs a second, but then my nephew is like the Rain Man for this game. Anyhow, let's get into some New Jersey movies. Oh, wait. Hold up. Ardent problem with re-releases. They re-release the most well-known classics, but rarely do great, slightly obscure cult, low-budget flicks. Like they'll show Grease 2, but Major Payne, nothing. Travesty. Clint Miller, travesty. I agree, Ardent. Yeah, I mean, some of the other things for the movie industry, I mean, there's merchandising, of course. The Turtles did very well on that this time around. Star Wars, classically, back in the day, made such an insane amount of money the movie studios couldn't even fathom it. The video games. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that tie into it. But the box office is big. I mean, you want the movies to be able to stand on their own. But now it's like, it used to be like, you make the movie, you put the movie out, it does well. Months later, you go to DVD, you make money on that, and then months later, it ends up on like HBO or something. Now, DVD and Blu-ray kind of going away to dodo. Everything's going to be streamed. Now it's all about the streaming. Will you get to keep the movie? Well, if you've got the right equipment, but more often than not, they're going to be like, oh no, you get a subscription to us. We'll hold on to the movie for you, customer, until of course they raise their prices and say, well, if you're going to leave our platform, well, all those movies you bought, well, they go away. That's what they're going to do. So if you want to keep hard copies of something, keep hard copies. Razorfist called that back in 2014. Kite, or it could be guys are less likely to be woke and being sick of pandering against them, even if films targeting them refuse to watch cinemas and just go right to piracy. Well, as a responsible YouTuber, I cannot endorse such actions, Kite, but yes, I think you have a point there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, it's the same thing that happened in books, and I tell this when I'm out doing my books and I'm talking about publishing. What I found in publishing was mostly it's women who run it now. It's women executives, women editors, women all day long in the world of publishing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that on its surface until you sit down with nothing but women and try to write a book for men. Then you got a problem. Unless the women are willing to listen, say, to talent like me, who is male, and so I was working with these women on a book. I was ghostwriting a book, and I was trying to tell them what men want. They refused to listen. They just refused. Now, they hired me. I had to listen to them. That's fine. If you're my client and you want to drive your project into the ditch, I'll say okay and step on the gas. But, I pushed back, tried to explain to him, no, this is a more guy sensibility thing. I don't think they really understood. That's just my opinion. Now, maybe they did, maybe they didn't care. I don't know. Maybe there's some elements. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when women say, "Oh, men just don't understand women," and that's like a running joke, it's really the opposite. I think it's really the opposite. Guys, to some extent, I think we understand women pretty well. Pretty well. That doesn't mean we're good at dealing with them, but I think we understand them to a great deal. A great deal. I mean, the running gag is, "Oh, we're just clueless." But I think that's mostly a trope. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's partly the, as James Lindsay would say, the iron law of woke projection. I think women have been projecting that for many years because really they don't understand men. Because when I talk to women sometimes about men stuff, they are really surprised. Like, you could just tell how surprised they are when you explain something to a woman. Like, they don't understand how guys, for instance, if a group of guys get into an elevator and there's some hot smoke show on the elevator with the guys, right? She'll get on and guys will just be quiet and then she'll get off, right? And then it's just guys in the elevator and you'll kind of look around and then the moment the doors close, somebody will go, "God damn." And then, there'll be a discussion about how hot that girl is. And all the guys will be on the same page, right? They'll all be on the same page. "Wow, did you see that butt? Did you see those legs? Did you see those eyes?" And, women might get mad and say, "Oh, you're objectifying women." No, that's how we evaluate women. We're very visually oriented. Women evaluate men in a different way. A lot of times it's their clothes, like right out the gate, or how they act or what they do. But it's like a different metric for women. And they do it too, but in a different way. And, and guys are different with their friends. Like, guys can be friends. Part of the reason we're friends a lot of times is we don't talk to each other a lot. Like, I have friends I haven't seen in years. Like, I haven't seen people, there are people I know I haven't seen in 20 years. If I saw them today, it would be like we never stopped talking. It'd be like, "Oh, hey, great to see you." "Oh, yeah, hey." Women have problems with having friends all the time. I mean, if you've ever talked to a woman about the people she works with, yeah, it's always a nightmare. It's always a nightmare. It's very rarely do I hear women go, "I love my coworkers. They're such a great bunch of people." It's always like, ah. Anyhow, I'm getting off track here. Let me refocus. Kite. "You will own nothing and be happy." Streaming in a nutshell. Yeah. Ardent. "Women don't understand men." Shocker. Yeah. I think it's really true. I mean, I don't think it's something they, I think it's not even because they don't know it. I think it's because they feel like they can't admit it. Not because it's not true, but because it makes them look bad. And women naturally resist anything that make them look bad. So, anyhow, let's get into the New Jersey movies. So first up, 17 memorable movies starring the Jersey Shore. All right, these are going to be a bizarre group of movies, by the way. The Wrestler, 2008. Oh, I like The Wrestler. That was a good movie. This isn't in any particular order, but yeah. Did you guys see The Wrestler? It's really good. It's really good. Marissa Tomei, Mickey Rourke. Amityville Horror. These are all pretty successful movies. The original one. It was shot in Tom's River. And in Tom's River, like the Amityville, the actual story didn't take place in Tom's River. But there was a house, much like the Amityville Horror House in Tom's River, that I read about. JEC, Wrestler was good. Rare praise from JEC. JEC has a high bar. Do you want to get down? Are you okay? I see you futzing around over here. Do you want to get down? Okay. Be good. This is what she does. Up and down. Annie. What is Annie? I don't remember this movie. There's not a a lot to like in this bloated version of the hit Broadway musical, including Albert Finney miscast as Daddy Warbucks. Oh, yeah. No, I hate parody musicals anyway. Ardent, I saw The Wrestler the same week as Iron Man 2. Mickey Rourke was wasted by Marvel. Yeah, it's a shame. I kind of like, I'm okay with Iron Man 2. I put that on the bottom of the Iron Man movies because I think number 3 is underrated, but I'm very biased. Annie the Musical. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, they don't have a picture of this one. I didn't realize it was shot at the Jersey Shore. Huh. Movie captures a shadow lawn at Monmouth University West Long Branch. Interesting. Baby It's You. 1983. I don't remember this. Oh, it was directed by John Stiles? Well, maybe it's good. Like a romance movie. Birdie. A young Nicolas Cage is in it. Matthew Modine. 2 West Philadelphia teens kindle an unlikely friendship. It takes place in Atlantic City. There's the tram car. I don't think they have the tram car in Atlantic City anymore. Oh, there's a in the background. Oh, that's 1984 when they made it. So in the background of this is a sign for Zabers, which was a restaurant near Atlantic City, which my parents took me when I was a kid. And it was kind of like this fun restaurant. Sometimes they had shows. They had like giant props. This was like very early before, you'd go to a place with crazy crap on the walls. This was sort of like one of the early innovators of that. But it was actually kind of cooler the way they had it. Like they'd have the giant chair you can take your picture on and stuff like that. It was a fun place. For kids, it was fun. I thought the food was great, but I was a little kid, so what the hell did I know? I guess I wasn't a little kid, but I was a teenager. I didn't go out to eat a lot as a teenager. The King of Marvin Gardens, 1972. I don't remember this one, but I hear it's good. A scene that stars Jack Nicholson and Bruce Dern carrying on a conversation while sitting on horses on the beach. Set in the pre-casino days of Atlantic City. That sounds pretty cool. Atlantic City, this is always mentioned. This is one of the classics. Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon unexpectedly caught up in a drug deal gone wrong. I think this was wasn't this Burt Lancaster's last movie or near last movie? Lancaster was nominated for Best Oscar and Sarandon for Best Actress. So this also has the White House subplace in it, in a scene. Great place to go in Atlantic City. Big Night. I don't remember this one. Stanley Tucci. 2 brothers played by Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub. Oh man, this sounds good. Want to turn their struggling restaurant in Keyport into a sumptuous feast to be attended by band leader Louis Prima, set in the 1950s. That sounds pretty good. Minnie Driver? Liev Schreiber's in it? I don't know. Might have to see that one. Blinded by the Light. A British Pakistani teenager turns his life around when he becomes a devotee of Bruce Springsteen's music. I think I saw the trailer for this. It's based on a true story. Eddie and the Cruisers. Yeah, that's a well-known one. Yep. People in New Jersey love it. I'm not a fan, but it's fine. Sopranos. I mean, it's not a movie, but okay. I guess we could count it. The Miracle Worker. Kind of just shot here, I guess. Stardust Memories. That was shot here? I didn't know. That's a Woody Allen movie. I think he was still funny then. Great Audition. The Great Auditorium in Ocean Grove was in it. The Warrior 2011. It's got comics in it. 2 estranged brothers played by Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton converge on Atlantic City in a mixed martial arts event. Wow. Who knew? Tom Hardy. Again, might have to see that. Chasing Amy, of course. I was in Chasing Amy, by the way. You can't really see me. I'm in one of the comic book convention scenes. I almost got a line. I came that close to getting a line, but didn't work out. But I always joke that I introduced Kevin Smith to his wife because there was a USA reporter. That's who he married. Gorgeous, by the way. Sat down next to me and asked me who Kevin Smith was. And I said, oh, it's the fat guy directing the movie. And I tried to chat her up. She's smoking. Kevin did very well for himself. Ardent, The Warrior was really good. I'm interested in it. I mean, that it has Tom Hardy in it, I can't imagine it's terrible. Jersey Girl, here that's unwatchable. Runners up. According to Greta, Amityville The Possession, Amityville 3D, The Bounty Hunter, City by the Sea, Coyote Ugly, Down by the Shore, The Godfather Part 3, oh God, there is no Godfather Part 3, Homeboy, In the Crowd, Marnie, The Money, I don't think it's the original Marnie, I think it's a later remake, The Pickup Artist, I kind of remember that, Snake Eyes, I believe that's Nicolas Cage, Stealing Home, and the subject was roses. Ardent. See it for Edgerton, actually. Interesting. Okay, so that's Jersey Shore movies. So all these movies, some way, take place in the Jersey Shore. Next up, 50 best and worst movies about New Jersey according to Rotten Tomatoes. This is from NewJersey.com. I don't know how accurate this list is. It may not be. 50. One for the money. 2% with the critics, 42% with the audience. I don't know that one. American Pastoral, Ewan McGregor and Jennifer Connelly, 2016. An adaptation of Philip Roth's 1999 Pulitzer Prize winning novel. Man, I don't remember that one at all. 23% with critics, 29% with audience. These all sound like stinkers so far. Coneheads, Dan Aykroyd. No, I hear this is a brutally unfunny movie, but probably compared to what we're getting now, it might be okay or watchable. Clint Miller, Amityville was on Long Island. Yeah, but they shot it in Tom's River. 33 on the tomato meter. I don't even care about the damn percentages unless they're wildly different. Paul Blart Mall Cop. See, this is a movie that Jeremy at the Quartering loves. He loves this movie. Probably because he grew up with it. It's just a dopey movie for me. But again, maybe I would enjoy it these days since we never get any comedies. Eddie and the Cruisers again. The Oranges. That's a place in North Jersey. Admission. Tina Fey plays Portia, a Princeton University admissions officer, and Paul Rudd plays John, the love interest, in a 2013 romantic comedy. Don't remember that one at all. Snake Eyes. This is a Brian De Palma film with Nicolas Cage. This was Nicolas Cage at his maximum Nicolas Cage, when he was just doing movie after movie and he was like a big star. I didn't see it, but it was in Atlantic City. Jersey Girl. Less said, better. Guess Who. 2005 reboot of the 1965 interracial dating movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, starring Pasayk's Zoe Saldana and Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac. Oh, okay. So it's like a reverse Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. IQ. Walter Matthau is Albert Einstein. I remember that movie. And Meg Ryan is his niece, and Tim Robbins is the mechanic in love with her, from a 1994 romantic comedy. I vaguely remember this movie. 8mm, Better Than Snake Eyes. I remember that. That's James Gandolfini, right? JC, Snake Eyes had its moments. Don't know if it all came together. I didn't see it, but it looked cool. It looked like Nick Cage being Nick Cage. I think that was kind of around his peak. Maybe Con Air was right around that time. I love that movie. This is just so Nick Cage, that movie. Jersey Boys, an adaptation of the Tony Award winning musical. It doesn't really count as a movie to me when you do that, but okay. Family Man, another Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage must like shooting movies in Jersey. Mallrats, it's all right. I mean, Kevin criticized this movie, so. New Jersey Drive, don't remember that. Friday the 13th, launched a franchise set in Camp Crystal Lake, set in a fictional Crystal Lake, New Jersey. But wasn't shot in Jersey, I don't think. Ardent, 8mm, I remember for Peter Stormare. But James Gandolfini's in it, right? Doesn't he play like the hitman or something? Clerks 2. Yeah, all the Kevin Smith movies are in New Jersey. Every one of them will probably be on this list. The Wedding Singer, I didn't see it. I think it was, wasn't it supposed to be a 90s nostalgic movie, The Wedding Singer? I thought it was like too early to start doing 90s nostalgia. Or was it 80s? I don't know. It did okay. Dogma, there's another Kevin Smith film. The Toxic Avenger. The original one's not bad at all. But it's kind of it's one of those movies, and I said this in doing the trailer analysis of the new version, like it was an accidental hit because they redubbed the actor's voice who was the Toxic Avenger, and that's the joke for half the movie. He has like this amazing voice as the Toxic Avenger, but he doesn't even look like he can speak in the costume. And it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of like when they redubbed Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice in Hercules and in Manhattan, but not as funny. Lean on Me. That's a classic movie. That was pretty good. It was decent. 69% with critics, 85% with audience. It's about it's like Morgan Freeman expelling all the bad students and like making the school good. Kite. I've had fun, but I have to try to get some sleep. I have a gaming stream after a week off in the morn. Need all my energy. Good to see you, Kite. Thanks for dropping in. Not Fade Away, directed by Sopranos creator David Chase, with music direction from Steven Van Zandt. 2012 film, a group of friends who start a band in the Jersey suburbs in the 1960s. James Gandolfini plays the lead's father. That sounds pretty good. The King of Marvin Gardens, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, was filmed in New Jersey, or was it set in New Jersey? Oh, it was set in New Jersey. The Banzai Institute is located in Holland Township, New Jersey. Yeah, one of the characters is named New Jersey. It's Jeff Goldblum. It's kind of a cult classic. If anything should be remade, it's Buckaroo Banzai, because I hear the books are amazing. Copland, classic. I love Copland. I think that's Stallone's best movie. Next to maybe the first Rocky. It's great. That he didn't make more of these movies. I don't know why he went. I guess he just wanted the money, but I think he should have made more movies like Copland and less movies like The Expendables. Or make them both. I mean, I don't know why he couldn't do both. Make an Expendables and then make a couple of movies like this. It's low budget. This was a good movie. War of the Worlds? They shot this in Jersey? God, this movie's terrible. This is Tom Cruise playing a longshoreman. Oh, who's in Bayonne. Okay, it's supposed to take place in Jersey. Ardent, Buckaroo Banzai needs a sequel. Well, after all this time, I could see them rebooting it. I mean, it's just been too long. But you definitely want to put Peter Weller in it. Absolutely, 100%. And maybe John Lithgow, too. I mean, John Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd, they should all have cameos. But I would recast it. I would do it more like the books. Because apparently they made some changes to try to make it more movie-friendly. It didn't really work. But I would also keep it in the 80s. I think that was its aesthetic. But War of the Worlds, absolutely hated this movie. Tom Cruise, it's just Tom Cruise. They might as well call it War of the Tom Cruise. It's just Tom Cruise versus the Martians. That's all the movie is. He actually has a son in the movie who's 19, I think he's supposed to be. And Cruise, he looks so young and he's kind of short. Him and his son look more like brothers than they do father and son. Like Cruise doesn't look old enough because he's unnaturally handsome and young. He just, he doesn't look like a longshoreman. I mean, he just is totally wrong for it. Ardent. John Big Booty? John Big Booty! F you, John Big Booty! I love that scene. I laughed so hard when I first saw the John Big Booty scene. Christopher Lloyd is great in that. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I love this movie. It's a great movie. They never should have made sequels. The sequel's not so great, but the first one's great. Clint Miller, the best part is when he murders Tim Robbins. Oh man, I don't remember that scene. When does he murder Tim? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw it. Sherry Baby? I don't know that. Oh, that's another musical movie. A Beautiful Mind. I guess that took place in New Jersey too. Yeah, Princeton University. Return of the Secaucus 7. John Sayles. American Gangster. That was a good movie. I liked American Gangster. I think some of it takes place in New Jersey. I thought a bunch of it took place in Philly. That's a good movie. Cinderella Man. Russell Crowe as James Braddock, a local fighter who becomes a 1930s world heavyweight champion, defeating boxer Max Baer. I don't remember, but it sounds okay. Don John, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's 2013 directorial debut as a Jersey juicehead who's addicted to pornography and lust after Barbara Sugarman, a character played by Scarlett Johansson, who looks so hot in that movie. It's one of those movies Scarlett Johansson looks amazing. It's not a great film, I don't think, but I do love Scarlett in that one. The Hurricane. Oh, I remember that. That's Denzel Washington as the boxer. Rocket Science. Partially filmed in Trenton. Don't remember that. It's like a coming-of-age movie. Happiness. This was a follow-up to Welcome in the Dollhouse. Jersey set film, but I mean, it was the director's follow-up, I guess. Garden State. I can't say it. I don't really like Zach Braff all that much, and I can't stand Natalie Portman, so I can't watch this movie. I just can't watch it. Desperately Seeking Susan. Shocker. It was a New Jersey film. Crazy. Something Wild. I liked Something Wild. It's a pretty good movie. Jonathan Demme. It's a romantic comedy. Jeff Daniels. JC, Happiness is an effed up movie. It is? Maybe I'm remembering this now. Happiness. Set partially in the Jersey suburbs. It's about three sisters and their family. One is a housewife married to a pedophile. Oh my God. One is a popular author who keeps getting obscene calls from a neighbor, and the other teaches at an immigrant education center and suffers a pitfall after pitfall in her love life. Ardent, wasn't Pushing Tim, Cusack and Thornton shot in New Jersey? Shot in New Jersey? Pushing Tim. Maybe. I don't remember. Chasing Amy. Oh, we're getting into the top 10 now. Clerks. I like Clerks. I do. Welcome to the Dollhouse. I knew somebody was in Welcome to the Dollhouse. About a middle school student in the suburbs of New Jersey who's branded a nerd and faces mockery. The Purple Rose of Cairo. New Jersey waitress Mia Farrow. I don't think they shot it in Jersey, but maybe they did because it's Woody Allen. American Hustle. With I love this movie. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence, Christian Bale. Christian Bale is the fat guy. Patterson, Jim Jarmusch's film. Adam Driver plays Patterson, a bus driver who lives and works in Patterson. It's a bit on the nose, but okay. The Station Agent, 2003 movie. Tom McCarthy. JC, Purple Rose is really good. Yeah, I think it's decent. Big Night. It's not my favorite Woody Allen movie, but it's in there. It's in the mix. I think my favorite is still Sleeper. Sleeper just has so many great one-liners. Here, have a cigarette. They're the best thing for you. You have to see it to know. Big Night, starring Stanley Tucci and Campbell Scott. Oh, and Tony Shalhoub. Okay, that's the restaurant movie. The Wrestler, excellent movie. On the Waterfront. That takes place in New Jersey. Oh, yeah, Hoboken. Yeah, well, that's a classic. And number one, Atlantic City. Always wins. All right. Got to take a 2-minute bathroom break. Be right back. Discuss amongst yourselves. How sweet it is. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? JC. Bananas. My favorite. Ardent. Tony's fan is loud. That's my computer. I should maybe turn my microphone a little ways away from it. Oh, I hope I'm not making too much noise. I have a towel. They said that that would absorb the sound if I put a towel underneath it, but I guess it's not working too well. All right, let's get into a few more lists. I don't know if I want to do another long list. That was a little too long. That one's not loading up. Yeah, that one's too long. They're all the same movies anyway. This was the Wikipedia list. It's got everything in it, but I'm going to skip that one because it's just too long. Let's get into the Jersey Devil horror movies. So these are movies that by default have to take place in South Jersey because they're about the Jersey Devil. Ardent, LOL, might try that towel thing then. Yeah, I think it does work to some degree. Did that help with the fan noise? Because I guess you're hearing my fan. There we go. I'll do that. I think that's still aimed at me. Is that better? Worse? Doesn't make a difference, I guess. So first up, this is Jersey Devil horror movies. Let's get it in IBD rating. Okay, so number one is Leeds Point. 7.4, a mass disappearance of brutal killings by a local campsite. The residents of Leeds Point believe a madman is on the loose. Unfortunately for Chase, many people believe that the main suspect in the case, it's too convoluted. I don't think you're going to read it. But I guess it's the Jersey Devils in that. Ardent, yep. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Number two is the Jersey Devil from 2005. Josephine Leeds was cursed by the townspeople of Shrouds Point for being the widow of a traitor and ultimately a whore. Okay, so they're taking... I can break this down just a little bit. Josephine Leeds, not one of the women said to be connected to her that I've read about. It's either Jane Johnson Leeds or Deborah Leeds. However, they call it Shrouds Point. Mrs. Shrouds was one of the alternate women who supposedly gave birth to the Jersey Devil. So I guess they didn't want to do Leeds and Leeds Point, which I can understand in a movie. It confuses people. But another sort of alternate name for Leeds Point kind of is Oyster Creek, because there's an actual little tributary there called Oyster Creek, and it goes through Leeds Point. There's a restaurant there called Oyster Creek. But, you know, it depends on what time period. I guess this is the 1700s if it's talking about the birth of the Jersey Devil. So that's right on the nose. Oh, here it is. The Last Broadcast, number 3, 5.2. This was the Blair Witch, basically, except it was the Jersey Devil. Now, I heard I'm not sure, but I think when this came out, some of the guys were telling me that this predated the Blair Witch, but I don't know. I don't think it mattered. I saw some of it and it was a little confusing to me, but and I don't think you get to actually see anything. But number 4 is 13th Child, Jersey Devil. Again, right on the nose. Jersey Devil's the 13th child. An in-depth look at one of the most horrifying legends of New Jersey Pine Barrens. Sounds like a documentary, but that's fine. Yeah, 60-minute documentary. Number 5, Jersey Devil. Beware. This is 130 minutes. This is a whole movie, 5.2. Lisa Smith is a young woman who is having a hard time dealing with college and working a full-time job when her younger sister Stacy disappears in the Pine Barrens. Lisa and her friends, blah, blah, blah. Jersey Devil attacks it. Number 6 is The Barrens, referencing the Pine Barrens, 4.6. This stars, if you remember First Blood, no, what's it called? The vampire TV show with the chick who played Rogue, Anna Paquin, something Blood, True Blood, I think it's called, right? Is that the vampire show, True Blood? This is the guy who plays the main vampire in True Blood, the one that Anna Paquin is in love with. A man takes his family on a camping trip, becomes convinced they're being stalked by the legendary monster, the New Jersey Pine Barrens, the Jersey Devil. But only 4.6, so not sure. Ardent, True Blood. Yes, True Blood. Okay. Number 7 is Carney. Devilish creature escapes from a carnival to wreak havoc on a small town. I assume that one takes place in the Pine Barrens. And number 8, Satan's Playground. It's a chiller with a vacationing family lost in the woods and the Jersey Devil lurking in the Pine Barrens. 3.5. It's 81 minutes. Sounds like a low-budget horror. It's fine. 13th Child. 2.9. People are being killed by someone or something using superhuman strength. A clever DA assistant is sent to investigate. They don't send DAs to investigate things, do they? Is this just a way to commit the perfect murder, or will the legend of the Jersey Devil prove to be true? And number 10 is Leeds, with no plot, but it came out in 2016. This one I haven't heard of at all. Most of the other ones I've heard of. I've heard of the Barrens, but they kind of all bleed together after a while because they all sort of have very similar names. But so yeah, so that's 10. Then we've got my local paper, the Courier Post, which I haven't read in years. Some horror flicks with real South Jersey ties. Knock at the Cabin was actually shot in South Jersey. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. The moment I saw this trailer, I knew there was no way the payoff could work. No way the payoff could work. I mean, M. Night, I think, loves to set up these situations, but he can't make them pay off. Like, even The Happening, the Mark Wahlberg movie, which I saw, I thought it had potential, but man, he couldn't make it happen. So excuse my pun, but it just didn't work. Just didn't work. There's such a dumb scene in, I guess it's called The Happening, right? Yeah, it's the one with the plants are killing everybody, where just John Leguizamo, he gets infected by the spores and he just drives right into a tree, and it's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The Prowler, I don't know that one. Set in a California town, but much of the filming took place in South Jersey's Cape May. An unknown killer is terrorizing a college graduation dance in the 1981 horror thriller Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So I guess that was in New Jersey too. Here's 13th Child, Legend of the Jersey Devil. I gotta check out the trailer for it now. Oh, The Village, that took place in the Pine Barrens. I didn't see this movie. This wasn't any good, right? Again, he's all about the twist. He's kind of trapped himself with that trope, I think. He can never get... I think he can't get a good enough twist now. And the problem with a twist is you don't want people to expect a twist, right? So if you market the movie, hey everybody, it's going to be a big twist at the end. There's going to be a big twist. What it puts in everybody's head is, as they're watching a movie, they're thinking, oh, I got to figure out what the twist is going to be. Is that going to be the twist? Is that going to be the twist? Is that going to be the twist? Oh, that's definitely the twist. Like, you have to sell it as another movie and then have a twist. Ardent, The Village got spoiled early. I've never seen it. I vaguely remember. I think I got told the twist and then, I don't know. Shot at Batstow. Oh, I know Batstow. Batstow is where they made bog iron. Bog iron was used for the cannonballs during the Revolutionary War. The British tried to burn down South Jersey towns that made bog iron. Batstow was too far inland. They never made it to Batstow, I don't think. But there were some other ones that did get burned down that made bog iron. Clint Miller, the twist for The Village sputtered. Yeah. See, the thing about The Twilight Zone and shows like that, you kind of want to just do a show and not telegraph the twist. Like with The Twilight Zone, you can maybe do it because you know there's going to be some twist at the end, but at least like you kind of don't know because you're always seeing new characters and new situations, right? So it's, I think it's kind of harder to discern it to some extent, although The Twilight Zone's great. I mean, the classic Twilight Zone, they're great. All the later renditions never really worked. I think it's part of, like, again, it's like when they made The Twilight Zone, it was a time when television was like normal. Like television was almost like plays just put on TV. So it was weird to watch The Twilight Zone. Now everything's like The Twilight Zone. Everybody's trying to do a twist or a surprise or whatever. Like people are exhausted by it. It's more of a twist if you just kind of ignore it. JC, the twist is that it's let up like it's a historical piece, but it turns out to actually be set. Should I say this? Because it gives it away. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that. I won't read the rest of it. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, it's like weird. It's weird to do that. I don't know how he could have pulled it off. Like M. Night Shyamalan should do a couple of normal movies. He should do just a straight up romantic comedy, no twist, a couple other normal things. But it's Hollywood. So will they greenlight a regular movie or a different kind of movie for him? I bet you they won't. They'll never greenlight a movie for him like that. They'll say, "Oh, but you're great. You're M. Night Shyamalan. We don't want you to direct that. We want you to do what you do." So it must be super hard. He's a guy. I think he's talented. Don't get me wrong. I think some of his movies are good, but he is a guy who I think has reached a point in his career. He has no choice but to go to a really good writer. Like he needs books or a writer who's just phenomenal to deliver him a screenplay that's like, that he could just run with. But like the moment I saw Knock at the Cabin, I mean, it's a good pitch, you can argue, because it's the kind of pitch like, oh, you mean one of the gay guys has to kill the other in order to save the world? Okay, that's a great pitch, except the payoff can't possibly work. Ardent, 10-year-old plus movie equals no spoiler issues if you ask me. Well, in case somebody didn't see it. I still haven't seen it. I kind of knew that. But... And then Zombie Wedding, which is a new flick, hasn't come out yet. It's supposed to be a comedy. I don't think it matters that it was shot in New Jersey, but there you have it. And then more Jersey Devil stuff. Jersey Devil in TV and film. So, the X-Files had a Jersey Devil episode, of course. There have been frequent documentaries, of course. Here's the 13th Child again. Oh my God, who are these people? That's pretty scary. That's a pretty scary shot. 13th Child. No bullet points in this one. I don't like this one. God, how can you do a list and not put bullet points? All right. Let's go back to one of the big... let's end on the Wikipedia one. We'll do the Wikipedia one real quick. 13th Child. We'll stop on the ones that we haven't talked about or sound interesting. According to Greta, across the universe, the Addams Family... The Addams Family? It was set in New Jersey? Oh, yeah, I guess it was. Because that was one of the jokes. Buckaroo Banzai, AI, Artificial Intelligence. God, I hate that movie. I hate AI. That movie sucked. If you ask me. God, the ending of that. Brutal. Brutal. Alice, Sweet Alice. American Gangster. Good one. American Hustler. Hustle. Good one. Amityville Horror. Analyze this, analyze that. I worked with a guy who was in those. Yeah, it's a mob movie. There's going to be a lot of mob movies on this list. Annie, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, movie film for theaters. Yes, that is definitely takes place in New Jersey. Artie Lang's Beer League. It's very Jersey. Atlantic City, of course. Avengers Endgame. That's in New Jersey. Huh? Wouldn't be surprised. Baby It's You, Bad Company, Ball of Fire, Bathing Beauty, Be Kind, Rewind. Oh, that's a good movie. This is a Jack Black movie. If you haven't seen it, the premise is, and you have to go back in time. So there's a video rental store, and who's the other guy in it? Mos Def. So Mos Def and Jack Black work at this video rental place. And I forget why they're out of movies. They're out of movies for some reason, or they don't have very many. So they decide to, because it's all videotapes in this era. I forget what year it is. So they decide to make like every movie, just remake it, but like with no money. So just them and their friends, like they find like Ghostbusters is missing, right? So then they run out and they shoot like a Ghostbusters movie, but it's just them with like hoses and lame costumes, like doing all the lines, and like the movie's only 20 minutes long. So they just start reshooting the movie. And it's just funny because then later they get shut down for copyright infringement, but people like them because it's like, oh, I like your version of the movie better. But they reshoot like every movie you could think of. So it's Jack Black and Mos Def and the various cast members just doing these ultra low budget versions of every movie you've ever seen. It's a pretty fun movie. A Beautiful Mind, Before I Self-Destruct, Being John Malkovich. That's right. That took place in New Jersey. I forgot about that. That's a really good movie. I love that movie if you haven't seen it. Being John Malkovich is John Cusack. Cameron Diaz is in it, and I didn't even recognize her in the movie until about 2/3 of the way in, and I went, oh my God, that's Cameron Diaz. And, of course, John Malkovich himself is in it. Great movie. Fun. Big, with Tom Hanks. Classic. Blinded by the Light. Bogus. The Bounty Hunter. A Brain Scan. Brewster's Millions. Another classic with Richard Pryor. Broadway Danny Rose. That's a pretty good Woody Allen. Burn After Reading. I like that one a lot. That's pretty good. That is the funniest, one of the funniest, I would say, Brad Pitt roles. The Cartel, Caught, Chasing Amy, Cheaper by the Dozen, Cinderella Man, City by the Sea, City of Hope, Class. Oh, I scrolled down. Class of Nukem High, 1986. Another cult classic. Clean and Sober. Clerks. Clerks 2. The Color of Money. It's a pretty good movie. Coneheads. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. The Cookout. Copland. Cosmopolitan. Coyote Ugly. The Crew. The Hip Hop Witch. Dan in Real Life. That looked terrible. The Dark Knight Rises. Not really. It doesn't take place in New Jersey, but they shot it there, or parts of it. Dark Ride. The Day the Earth Stood Still, the new one. The new one's awful. God, that movie sucks. I hate to say that about a Keanu Reeves movie, but it's awful. Jennifer Connelly, too, I think. Desperately Seeking Susan, Dogma, Donnie Brasco. That's a good movie. That's a good one. I like that one. Down the Shore, Dwayne Hopwood, Eddie and the Cruisers, Eddie and the Cruisers 2, Eddie Lives, Elizabethtown, Empire Records, Escape from New York. That's a good movie. I love me some Escape from New York. And Escape from L.A. That's a good movie, too. I wish he had continued doing Snake Plissken movies. It's still time. Kurt Russell could do it. I would totally pay to see another Snake Plissken movie. Absolutely, 100%. And it has to be John Carpenter. Absolutely, 100%. He's back, by the way, doing stuff. Give him another Escape movie. He has to do at least 3. I don't know what you could do next. I guess you got to do Washington, D.C., maybe? I don't know. Fallen, The Family Man, The Family Stone, Firstborn, Flight 93, Forget About It, Frame of Mind, Frankenhooker. I remember that movie. I didn't see it. Ardent, Escape from Chicago. I guess, but like I don't know how you distinguish it that much. Like New York has a flavor, L.A. has a flavor. Chicago's flavor is kind of close to New York. Maybe someplace in Texas? Escape from Austin? Or maybe you don't have to pick a movie. Maybe Escape from Tokyo, like a city like that, or London. JC, they've been talking about doing an Escape from Space movie since the first one. Really? Escape from Space. Maybe that could work. Freedom Land, The Freshman. Ardent, Escape from El Paso? Escape from Dallas? Escape from Houston? Escape from Mexico City, maybe. I think Ghost of Mars started off as an Escape sequel. Really? I had no idea. Friday the 13th, 2009. Funny Money, Garden State, bleh. Girl Most Likely, The Godfather Part 3. That's not a movie. We don't talk about that. Gone Fishing, Goodbye Columbus, Gracie, Greetings from the Shore, Guess Who, Gunshy, Gypsy 83, Happiness, the effed up movie, Harold and Kumar Goes to White Castle, Hellboy, oh yeah, I guess that was partly in Jersey, Homeboy, Hudson Hawk. I saw Hudson Hawk. It's dumb. It's a dumb-ass movie. But James Coburn has a line that floored me. But other than that, it's awful. James Coburn's line is like, Rome. I did my first bare-handed strangulation in Rome, and I lost it. The way he delivered it. Ardents. That seems likely, JC. The Hurricane. Hysterical Blindness. The Iceman. Imaginary Heroes. IQ. In and Out. The In-Laws. Oh, I love The In-Laws. Ardent. I love Hudson Hawk. Fight me. No, I just won't watch it again. Jaws. Based on... Oh, because it was based on a story that took place in New Jersey. I guess. That's stretching it. It doesn't take place in New Jersey. It's not shot in New Jersey, but... Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I actually like that one. At Clerks and then that movie are my two top Kevin Smith movies. Because I love the ending of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Because what they do, spoilers. Nah, I won't spoil it. You can see it. It's a good ending, though. I don't want to spoil movies. Lost My Place. Jersey Boys, of course. Jersey Girl, 92. Jersey Girl, 2004. Jersey Shore, Shark Attack. The Jimmy Show, Joe the King, Julie and Julia, Just Friends, Just the Ticket, The Kill-Off. The King of Marvin Gardens, talked about that. Lansdowne, The Last Broadcast, talked about that. Lean on Me, The Lemon Sisters, Liana, Little Black Book, Live Free or Die Hard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think part of that takes place in Jersey. Lock Up, Loins of Punjab presents. Sounds kind of dirty. The Long Kiss Goodnight. I love that movie. Love that movie. Highly underrated if you haven't seen it. They quote a line here. Easy sport. Got myself out of Beirut once. I think I can get out of New Jersey. Yeah, well, don't be so sure. Others have tried and failed. The entire population, in fact. That's a Shane Black script, by the way. Ardent. Just got a Paramount Plus notification about the Frasier reboot. Grown. Yeah, it doesn't look great. I mean, Kelsey Grammer's like... I have a script for Kelsey Grammer, by the way. I wrote it back in the heyday of Frasier, and I pictured him as the lead, and the guy who plays Niles playing a role very similar, but they're not brothers in it, and he's more of a supporting character. But Frasier, I mean, it would be a good movie for Kelsey Grammer. I wish I could get it to him, but it's impossible to get at these people. Mafioso, Mallrats, The Many Saints of Newark. I think that's a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Totally overblown. I ranted about this thing because I watched it and I regretted every moment of it. Men in Black, that's true. Morning Glory, Mortal Thoughts, Moving, The Nanny Diaries, National Treasure. That's right. Part of it takes place in Philly too. New Jersey Drive, New Jersey the Movie, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Ardent. Kelseyville Grammer was the best thing about the third X-Men movie. Or Kelsey Grammer was the best thing about the third X-Men movie. He was a perfect beast. Yeah. The word was, at that time, with the X-Men 3 movie, what happened was the rival studio was trying to lure Bryan Singer away, right? So he did the first movie as a big hit. Second movie, they tried to cut the budget because it was one of those situations where a new studio head or executive came in, and the word was, and these are just what I heard, that he was trying to sabotage his predecessor's franchise. So he cut the budget. But Bryan Singer wanted the movie anyway and made it work. The sequel was good. Then when they got to the third movie, they eventually lured Bryan Singer away to do, I think, that Superman movie that nobody likes. And then they cut the budget again and gave it to a guy who I think never directed a feature-length movie before. I think he had only directed music videos up until that point. And that's part of the reason that movie's kind of a disaster, I hear. I didn't say it because I heard it was so bad. I was just like, I'm not seeing this. North, Not Fade Away, Nothing But Trouble. Now You Know, Ocean's 11? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's part of it. Old Dogs, On the Waterfront, One for the Money, Owning Mahoney. Ardent X2 opening, Nightcrawler was amazing. It really is. I love that movie. It's a shame they had to ruin the third movie for money, essentially, or ego, really. Palookaville, Paper Soldiers, Patterson, Paul Blart Mall Cop, The Perfect Holiday, The Pickup Artist. I remember that one. I believe that's Morton Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr., not Morton Downey Jr. Ardent, Pootie Tang? Yes, Pootie Tang. Picture Perfect. The Prowler. The Purple Rose of Cairo, Ragtime. I remember that movie. It was James Cagney's last film. Yeah. Raising Helen, Ransom, The Rebel Set, Restaurant, Red River, Riding in Cars with Boys, ugh. Rocket Science, Rounders, Running on Empty, Running Scared, Satan's Playground, School of Rock. That was all right. Second Best, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. That's a 1947 classic. Sherry Baby. The Simeon Line, Snake Eyes, Something Wild, The Sopranos State, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. Love that movie. Stardust Memories, The Station Agent, Stealing Home. Storytelling Street Fight, Superman, 1978, classic. Swim Fan, This Thing of Ours, The Toxic Avenger, Trade, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Not great, in my view. Union City, United 93 Vision Quest voices Walking to the Waterline, War of the Worlds, awful. Wedding Singer, meh. Welcome to the Dollhouse, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, Win-Win, Winter Solstice, Wise Guys, and The World According to Garp, World Trade Center, Ye Maya Chesav, whatever that is, and Zoolander. Zoolander. Is this a movie for ants? All right. So those are the movies that had something to do, or they're set in Jersey. These are the ones that were set in Jersey. Not necessarily shot in Jersey, but set in Jersey. I'm not going to go for the other list because it's mostly the same movies. But it's not a bad list. Not a bad list. Interesting. I'm glad I could come up with a new theme. I've been wanting to come up with a new theme for a while. I couldn't think of one. And I was just like, oh my God, I haven't done Jersey movies. So, before we go, let's just check the trades really quick. I didn't even have these ready. Suzanne Summers dies. Piper Laurie, who was an actress, who was the mother in Carrie, and she was also in The Hustler, also died. It's a shame. What else is going on? Nothing much, not so much. Check the Hollywood Reporter. Clint Miller, what about movies set in Newfoundland? I don't know if that'll be a long enough list, but I could check it out. Ardent, Avengers Endgame. The connection was the army base Caps was training on. Oh, okay. Writers call out WGA for not speaking out in support of Israel following Hamas attacks. In my opinion, they shouldn't be speaking on any political things or world events. They're writers. So, Ardent, which means Winter Soldier, was also there. That's true. Yeah, I think there's a lot of movies left off that list that are technically in New Jersey. Basically, almost every mob movie has at least one scene in New Jersey, unless it's like hardcore New York or another city where there's mob guys, but a lot of them would be in New Jersey. I'm sure Goodfellas has at least one scene in New Jersey. It must. It must. But maybe they're not counting it because there's only one scene. I mean, you know. But writers of the WGA does not have to make pronouncements on every world event. It just doesn't. Yes, this is a terrible tragedy. And what else are they going to say? What else do you expect them to say? This is a terrible tragedy. We pray for all the victims, yada, yada, yada. Like, they are not... I don't care what their opinion is, because first off, I know their opinion. Nobody wants to see people murdered. But they don't have to make an official statement. This has nothing to do with writing. Yes, they may have some members who are from that area of the world, but they should not be forced to make a statement, because that only brings trouble. Ardent, set in Newfoundland, ahem, cracks knuckles, shipping news, Grand Seduction, Random Passage, Orca, Raiders franchise has a map scene where they land in Newfoundland. Wow. Ardent is on it. I think Ardent has to do that list. I think you should do that list on your show, Ardent. Look at you. You're right here with the list. Nice. But yeah, the WGA shouldn't weigh in. Shouldn't weigh in. Is the WGA supposed to weigh in on everything? No. They should weigh in on things that impact the movie industry, writers, things like that. Like if a book is being censored and one of their members wrote it, they absolutely should weigh in and support the writer. 99% of the time. I don't know. Some of the books, who knows. Clint Miller, we asked the right guy. Yeah, we certainly did. Ardent, gonna have to make that my first show back in November. Yeah, I think that would be a fun show. let's see. What else is going on here? Scott Pilgrim takes off, is out or coming out, if anybody cares. I don't really care about it. I think the movie kind of ruined that whole franchise for me. It looked kind of cool, and then that movie wasn't great. It was okay, I guess. I liked some of it, but I think they, I don't know. Diablo Cody, who's somehow still writing scripts. Lisa's Frankenstein gets first look, launch date. I guess. I mean, I like the name. Lisa Frankenstein is pretty funny. But I hope it's not a super woke feminist thing. Arden at Clint Miller. I am a very proud Newfoundlander. As well you should. You should be proud of where you're from. Alright, let's see. Deadline. SNL Davidson's Barbie skit and monologue. Who cares? Who cares? Pete Davidson is already hosting Saturday Night Live. It's like last time I checked, he was in the cast. Now he's hosting the show. Like, is there anybody left on Saturday Night Live that has even a name? If not, like, make the show funny again. I think there's only one choice. I think the only way to make SNL funny again is to unplug it from the corporate guys who control it. And I think that probably means Lorne Michaels has to go. And they have to stop micromanaging the show and give it to a bunch of crazy guys that they don't have any control of. See, that could be their excuse, right? They can say, oh, we signed a bad deal with these guys. We're not allowed to change anything. Right? And that would give them armor. Like, oh, we want to stop them, but we already signed the deal. Clint Miller, do you mean Pleasance? I'm not sure. You mean as in Donald Pleasance from the Halloween movies? Ardent, Wild and Crazy Guys? That's going back. But yeah, I mean, they just need to get guys. They need to get the old guys out and just give the show to the most insane, edgy comedians possible. But they'll never do it. They'll never do it. Like, the kind of guys that should be on this show are the kind of guys that piss off everybody right now. They should be totally politically incorrect. They should be the most based guys out there. They'll never hire them. Ever. So you're just going to get increasingly good-looking and not so talented, guys doing the same lame comedy and making fun of Trump. I'm sure that'll be in an upcoming show. God, the amount of Trump material on that show sickened me. It was just so much. It was just such a volume of everything. It was just like, is there nothing else in the news that you can make fun of? It was just tiresome. Wasn't even funny. 90% of it. I mean, Alec Baldwin did a decent Trump, don't get me wrong. Some of them were kind of funny. And I like Alec Baldwin as an actor. I kind of can't stand him as a person. I mean, he's great on 30 Rock. He's so good on 30 Rock. But Ardent, more obscure. Knock Knock, Land Shark. Oh, I remember those days. I was an original SNL fan. That's why I'm so angry about the current state of the show. I grew up on Saturday Night Live. In 1975, I watched one of the first shows. I don't think I watched the first show, but I definitely watched. I can tell you the first thing I saw on Saturday Night Live. They did a parody commercial of. There was a commercial at the time for Heinz ketchup, and there was a hit song called Anticipation. And in the real commercial, they're pouring the ketchup, and it comes out very slowly, and they play the song Anticipation. So there's a commercial on the show for, and John Belushi was in the commercial, for some sort of drink. I forget what it was called, but it was made from New York water. And it's supposed to be like seltzer water or whatever. It's supposed to be water, essentially. And Belushi starts pouring it, and they start playing that song Anticipation, because it comes out like gunk. And I laughed. Clint Miller at Tony DiGerolamo. I was trying to poke the bear Ardent by using French name for Newfoundland. Oh, until Ardent's ancestors ran them off. Oh, okay. You're making a Canuck joke. I didn't get it. Ardent, less obscure. Jane, you ignorant. Yes. Yes, that was a great one. There were so many great bits on the original Saturday Night Live. It was crazy. It was a crazy amount of comedy that came on there. And go back in the archives and look at the premiere show, what was on it, and you'll just be blown away. Because at that time, like George Carlin was on. George Carlin was not allowed on TV by then. By then, he was a crazy hippie. These people were putting on very edgy stuff in 75. But, like, the idea was, well, it's late at night. Nobody really watches this. We'll let them do crazy stuff. Nobody's going to watch this because everybody got slaughtered in that time slot. That was a time slot on the weekends for old movies that almost nobody watched because they were out partying, getting some, or too drunk to watch anything. They'd be home watching the movie drunk or something. But like Saturday Night Live changed all that because this was this wild show. It was like being at a party watching the show, kind of, you know. Clint Miller, when SNL was actually funny. Yeah. Ardent, French, Terra Nova, Latin, Terra Nova. Joe Biden in 60 Minutes interview says he believes the Israelis are going to do everything in their power to avoid killing of innocent civilians. To some extent, I think that's true. But they also want payback. So there's going to be incident after incident. But Clint Miller, your kids wouldn't remember Rowan and Martin's laughing. I remember it. But yeah, that's an old one. I think they must show the rerun somewhere, probably on like Nick at Night or whatever. That was pretty good. Goldie Hawn was on that show as the bikini girl. She would be dancing in a bikini and have various things written on her, and they'd zoom in on pieces of her body and it would say like, "Sock it to me." Ardent, Pleasance was the original Portuguese name for the town in Placentia, says Ardent. Yeah, Joe Biden is going on his propaganda tour now. I'm surprised he could get this whole headline out of his mouth. Ardent, I remember laughing. Reruns, yep. Yeah, I saw reruns too. I think it was too old. I used to write, if you want to see some really cool reruns, watch the old Smothers Brothers Hour show. Holy cow. That show was way ahead of its time. Kick-ass director Matthew Vaughn teases reboot and shares Kingsman 3 update. Number one, too early for a reboot. Hate to say, but I guess if you're going to keep the characters the same age, maybe, but I think it's too early. And Kingsman 3, I have zero interest in that. I kind of got turned off of the Kingsman because of that murderous scene in the first one. I think it's unjustified. From a creative stance, it gave me a bad taste in my mouth for the Kingsman, and I just said, nah. Percy Jackson and the Olympians creator Rick Riordan make surprise appearance at NYCC panel. Fans get preview of premiere episode. I guess. I don't know. I was never into this. I don't know. It's like, whatever. Will Smith responds. Oh, Jesus. Ardent, Stormy and I have discussed overdue 24-hour streaming channel showing the Mighty Marvel cartoons on loop. Interesting. Stormy and I discovered an overdue 24-hour streaming channel showing the Mighty Marvel cartoons on loop. Oh, cool. I think you could show that. Can you try putting that in the chat? See if you can put the link up. If you can, if you want to. Will Smith responds to revelations in wife's Jada's memoir admits to waking up. See, again, the rumor is, and I'm just repeating a rumor, I'm not saying this is true, that Will Smith is gay and Jada was his beard. And that, to me, is why he would put up with all this nonsense. But who knows? Ardent, we'll try. Okay. All right, and let's go into bounding. Love bounding in the comics. Let's see if there's any. I don't think there's any new headlines here. Yeah, he hasn't posted anything since the 13th. Nothing really huge dropping. The Marvels is predicted to have a bad box office. Surprise, surprise. They're making a Halloween TV show way too soon and not a good idea, in my view. Leaked descriptions of Superman Legacy concept art. Again, too early, whatever. Eric July is getting sued by the Good Shepherd Ministries over the Isom trademark, which seems to be... I kind of side with Eric in this case because I don't know why they're suing him. He does a comic book. They do a ministry. It's like... It's the likelihood of confusion. Who is going to confuse a ministry? Oh, I want to go to the ministry. Oh my God, I'm reading a comic. What? Like, no one's going to do that. It seems dopey. The whole lawsuit, but they really go after Eric July. I don't know why. Seems like a nice enough guy. I mean, some of the things he says I don't agree with, but whatever. Oh, here's something. Dynamite Comics announces Space Ghost, Thundercats, and more new titles. I gotta say, Dynamite knows how to pick the IPs to license. They really do. And they do cool stuff with them. They also do crossovers with them, which is genius and is exactly what I would do if I had the money to license these things. Ardent, can't find the 24-hour stream, but the Nostalgia Road Trip channel has a 6-hour video. Suppose that's all of them? I don't know. I don't know how many there were. So I'm not a Thundercats really a big giant fan, but that artwork looks cool. Stormy and I want Clint Miller. Stormy and I want to know who is the Pineys book 13 dropping. Well, a new cousin will be introduced, and I will say it's going to be a classic character with a classic tale. Connected to the number 13. Alright. So Thundercats. I mean, it looks decent. Space Ghost sounds fun. It's not going to be funny Space Ghost. It's going to be serious Space Ghost. But let's see. Oh, they got a bunch of others. The Flintstones, the Powerpuff Girls, Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, the Wizard of Oz, We Care Bears. We Bear Bears? Seems like weird, but I guess this is all from Adult Swim. Bleach Team is here. Hale and Hardy. Well, good thing I kept going. Ho, Bleach. Welcome, Bleach. Kind of wrapping things up, but it's good to see you. Let's see what's going on at Cosmic Book News. Marvel Studios Clueless reveals MCU author? What does that mean? Let's see what that means. What happened to the MCU? Let's take a look. The author of MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, unauthorized tell-all, reveals that the Marvel Studios is clueless when it comes to what fans want. Gee, that's a shocker. Bleach Demon, howdy, Ardent. Yeah, what a shocker that the Marvel Studios clueless reveals MC author. Oh, reveals MC author. Okay, now I get it. It's weird. It needs some punctuation in the headline, I think. Yeah, I mean, they're just... I don't know if they're clueless. I think some of it's on purpose. I think some of it's... Again, they got a lot of female executives doing their female empowerment thing, and part of that is hating men for some reason. I think they just... When they can't think of anything else to do, oh, let's take one of the male characters and emasculate him and then make a female character like his boss. Like, that does nothing. It doesn't do anything for women either, I think. Women audience don't necessarily like that. I think a feminist audience would like that, but that's a very tiny group of angry women. Ardent, season 2 of what? Interested? Hope it's less woke. Willow season 2. Warwick Davis embarrassed, doesn't know what to say. What happened was he was getting emails and I guess social media from fans saying what happened to season 2, and Disney not only canceled season 2 but took the first season off the Disney Plus because they say it's so woke and so terrible. I heard. So, yeah, I mean, what are you supposed to say, Warwick? I mean, I hear it's awful. I hear it's awful. So, that's about it for the live stream, where we did it live. Bleach Demon shows a lack of creativity to swap established characters. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for it. There's just no reason for it. You know, you could do new things, but these woke idiots, that's not their specialty. They know if they launch, like, say some feminist, crazy, woke executive says, I'm going to launch a new show. Okay. Then they hire a bunch of woke women to write this crazy woke show. You know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be women hating on men. You know, Ardent, What If is getting a second season? I don't think so. Did I see that on there? I think it is. I do think it is, but no, they were talking about Willow getting a second season. Anyhow, you would have these super woke women doing this show. It would be about some woman who's beaten down by the patriarchy and rises above and crushes all the men. And if the previous writing is any further example, she would absolutely crush them. All the men would be terrible. All the women would be amazing. Somehow the men would keep winning just enough so the women would have to keep crushing them. I mean, it would be the most boring, predictable show on earth. And I think deep down, they kind of know that, and they know nobody will watch it. So instead, they have to go with these iconic characters and names so people will watch the damn show. Then they fend them off by saying, oh no, you're just being sexist. Because they know the show's going downhill, but they lie to themselves, I think. Ardent, would be nice to see what if Bucky told Sam to get bent and took the shield. There's a survey at the top of that site. Oh, this one. Which MCU project are you most excited for? Oh, okay. The Marvels? No. What If Season 2? I don't know. I from what I saw of Season 1, I saw very little. Bleach Demon. Curious. If Curious, is the remake to just be a remake for modern audience or to dilute the reach of the original works, like Manchurian Candidate from 1962 being harder to find than the trash 2004 version? No, I think these people want to correct history, quote unquote, right? They want to change history and say, no, ours is better. And then I think, you know, maybe they see it as making, some of it's make money, right? So for the studio, for the actual company, the 1962 version, right? Most of the people in it and worked on it are dead. Possibly the royalties have run out. It was shot in 62, so possibly a lot of people didn't get many royalties. That's a moneymaker if you keep promoting it. But it is dated, so the precious sensibilities of the current executives don't like it, and they don't make any extra money. However, the 2004 version, it's possible the executives who produced that or were on it in some capacity are still getting a paycheck from it, as well as some of their friends who are who may or may not be enticed to make other projects that they're working on, because it's all about money, right? Ardent, alternate universes franchise fascinate me. Alternate universes fascinate. They fascinate me as well. That's why I did one in the Pineys book 12. So it's all about money at the end of the day. So imagine you have an actor you're trying to woo into the latest thing. And he made a movie back in, he was in, let's say, the terrible version of The Manchurian Candidate for 2004. Clint Miller, Harry Turtledove, is still alive. He is? He's probably pretty old. So, you know, maybe you say to him, hey, you know, we'll go through your back catalog and push a re-release or something to get you a little more bump in the money, because you get that maybe that actor has a piece of that movie for whatever reason. And then it's basically like you're kind of bribing him, right? And now your buddy. Now he's your buddy. Anyway, trying to wrap. Have a good night. Yeah, you too. I'm going to wrap soon, right after this thing. So you're trying to bribe them, essentially. And then you don't care that nobody wants to see a 2004 movie. Or maybe you make a little bit of money, but it doesn't matter. It's not your money. Even you're not really going to spend much to do that. You might spend a little. Does a company care? Does a company care you spend a couple of grand pushing an old movie for some reason? No. It doesn't care. You know? I mean, these guys get a lot of leeway, some of them. They're told they have to make money, though. Behind the scenes, they're told, you got to deliver. Because what I saw when my friend had a deal, the studio keeps a tab. It's just a tab on your office and everything you do. Every dollar you spend, they're adding to the tab. And when you make a film or movie, the first thing you do before you get any royalties is you must pay the tab. You don't pay it. The studio keeps money until your tab's paid off. And then you get the money. So let's say you got, I don't know, 10% of some movie. But you've spent $2 million developing it and blowing a bunch of money on hotels and blow and hookers and going out to restaurants on company time. Studio probably doesn't care, but they care about getting that $2 million first. So once the movie makes enough money and they figure out your percentage, let's say it's 10%, they keep taking that 10% and they put it right back in their pocket until you hit $2 million, and then they start sending you the checks. So, anyhow, which MCU project are you most excited for? The Marvels? No. Well, technically, yes, but I know it's going to be terrible. What if Season 2? No. X-Men 97, I hear it's going to be woke, so no. Echo, I hear it's just awful. Deadpool 3, yes, I like Deadpool. That one sounds good. Captain America, Brave New World, that sounds like it's going to be awful. Agatha, never should have been greenlit. Dumb, stupid, it's going to be terrible. I like the leads in it, though. Aubrey Plaza's in it. She's not a lead, but I forget the name of the actress. She's good, but it's probably going to be terrible. Thunderbolts, never should have been greenlit. This is the most insane. This shows you no one in Marvel, no one at Disney seems to know what the hell they're doing. That they would greenlight Thunderbolts with the wrong lineup. It's a completely wrong lineup. You can't even do this movie in the MCU. You kind of can't do it. Unless you brought back every villain from the previous movies, somehow work them in to that big reveal. Maybe they are, but I don't think so. Fantastic Four, no. So the answer is Deadpool for me. And Deadpool is the winner. Yeah. X-Men 97, I can see why people are excited for it, but it's going to be super woke from what I heard. So, Fantastic Four, will they ever make this movie right? I don't think so. Also, doesn't sound great. Also sounds insanely woke. They're going to make Sue the leader or whatever. Dumb. Captain America, Brave New World. Meh, who cares? The Marvels, though, I think everybody wants to see what a train wreck it is. Bleach Demon, thanks for the insight. Oddly, this level of greed is less bothersome than just being about manipulating the movie. Yeah, it's always about money. Whenever there's a problem, you could always trace it back to money. Somebody somewhere, money, money, money. I think. Yeah, sometimes there's a couple of, I don't know, you got a lead and a director butting heads for whatever reason. I mean, even in a good movie like Groundhog Day, the rumor was Harold Ramis and Bill Murray had such a falling out over that movie. They weren't even speaking by the end of it, is the rumor. And I think they eventually mended the fence before Harold died, but, that can happen. You're working with somebody on a creative project, things get intense. They really do. Sometimes. I've been there. Everybody has their ideas, but anyhow, let's wrap it here. What did we learn today? Well, we learned there was a lot of movies in New Jersey. A lot of movies about the Jersey Devil. None of them you've really heard of. And that probably the best movie about New Jersey is probably Atlantic City still, with Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon from 1980. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good drama. There are more. There are more decent ones, but that one tends to drift to the top of the list all the time. And then Kevin Smith made all his movies in New Jersey, of course. And there's a bunch more. There's a bunch more. If you missed the show, you go back and look at it. Also, Taylor Swift is single-handedly holding up the movie industry right now. And my prediction, concert movies are going to be the next big thing. At least part of the next big thing. Also Barbie movies and women movies, but definitely concert movies, I think, are going to be in the queue. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, somewhere in the house. You still here, Joan? Oh, you're in your bed. Good for you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Any final thoughts, questions, or suggestions for next week? I think Ardent's going to be doing Movies of Newfoundland on his stream, so check out that. Glad to see everybody here. I was a little worried. I forgot to mention this last week. I was worried that Justin Trudeau changed the rules about podcasting or something, and that people in Canada might not be able to see the show. I was a little worried about that. So I don't know. If Justin Trudeau silences you, I hear you can get a VPN service, and they'll never know where you're coming from. Salutes in the chat. Thank you, Bleach Demon. Thanks to all who tuned in. And check me out on all my various things. Check me out. I'll be doing something on Tuesday. Delran Historical Society. All right. We're going to end it here. Good night, everybody. All righty. And that's a